Shabbat shalom. Anna bekoach gedula diyamincha. Tatir tzerura, tatir tzerura. Kabe rinat, rinat amcha. Saveinu, tareinu nora. Lay, 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 lay,
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Welcome. Our friends in the room, our friends on Zoom. Great to have everyone here. This melody, Ana Bakoach, please give us strength. Please give us strength. And may the song that we offer and the companionship, fellowship that we bring tonight, may it create new connections and loosen the knots. Weave without knots. So preparing to kindle the lights of the Shabbat, I'd like to invite you to join me on page 748 in the prayer book. And this is a poem by Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg. And you can listen or you can join me. Tonight we are invited to taste the power of words. We begin the book of words, the book of Devarim. Dear God, we are bound with very tight knots. They choke off air and stop the blood from pulsating freely. The knots make us like computers with carefully controlled circuitry. The knots in our brains tie our creativity, our link with you. We follow the knot around in its intricacy, but it remains a knot. The knots in our hearts keep us from crying and dancing when we long to. They tie us to the posts of the fences that separate us from each other, Evergreen and Aurora. The knots in our muscles keep our teeth clenched, our jaws locked, our legs crossed, our shoulders stooped, our backs bent, our chests from inhaling and exhaling the full sweetness of life's breath. Oh God, untie all our knots. And breathe. And they say, we rest, we Shabbat. Sabbath is a verb too. We Shabbat, we stop, and we breathe, and we're gifted with another soul. The candle lighting blessings are on page 4 and 5. I would ask one of our guests, maybe Pastor Anita, to light the candles, but with the fans going, that's not an easy task. So Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlikne The first thing we do when we light the Sabbath lights is to fulfill the mitzvah, the holy calling to welcome guests. And even if you're a guest, you can welcome guests, messengers and angels.
Page 13.
Page 13.
Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem, Sharet, Aleichem, Melech Malchei Hamelachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Aleichem, Shalom,
Bless us. Shalom upon you, peace upon you, angels of peace. Come in peace, bless us with peace, and when you go, go in peace. May the peace of this gathering have ripple effects in the wider world. The next preparation that we have for welcoming Shabbat is to turn to our poetry from the Hebrew Bible. First, the Song of Songs. So on page 19 is a selection from the Song of Songs, or the Songs of Solomon. I am to my beloved as my beloved is to me. This is the primary metaphor for the relationship between Israel and Shabbat, is one of a love story. Dodi li va'ani lo harove bashoshanim. Dodi li va'ani lo harove bashoshanim. My love is mine and I am his, who browses in the lotus patch. Who is this coming up out of the wilderness, perfumed with myrrh and frankincense? You have enlivened me, my sister bride, my Sabbath bride. Awake, north wind. Yes, come, south wind. Blow and cool down the evergreen, but don't blow out the candles. And then we have 6 psalms, one for each of the previous days of the week that are chosen, starting with Psalm 95 on page 20. So I invite you, I'm going to chant a little bit of it, and then invite you to look for a verse that stands out for you. You got 6 of them to choose from, so if you don't see one right away, just keep going. Lechunra l'Adonai, Naria l'tzor yishenu. Hurry forth in thanks before the presence. Asher nishbati ve'api imivun el manuchati. Page 24 and 25 from Psalm 96. Shiru ladonai shir chadash. Sing out to the Redeemer a new song. Shiru ladonai kol haaretz. Sing to the eternal, not just the humans, but the evergreen trees and the blue sky and the earth. Shiru ladonai baruch hu shemo basru meyom liyom. May the cycle of light and dark and day and night be part of this song that we join on this Shabbat. Kiva lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel betzedek, ve'amin be'emunato. Page 31. Or Zarua. Light beams are seeded for the righteous, happiness for those of steadfast heart. Rejoice, O righteous ones, in the unnameable. Be thankful for its sacred trace. Or Zarua la Sadik, Uli Yisrael Simcha. O Zaru ala Tzadik, Ule Yisrael Simcha. Simchu Tzadikim b'Adonai, Ve'hodu lezecher kodsho. Hodu l'Adonai zecher kodsho. Hodu lezecher kodsho. Yadadai, yandadadai, 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 Adonai Osle Amo Yitein, Adonai Yivarech Et Amo Vashalom. Page 41. Beloved friend, let's go outside and welcome in the Sabbath bride. Beloved friend, let's go outside and welcome in the Sabbath bride. L'cha dodi, l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat. L'cha dodi, l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat. Call and response, beloved friend.
Beloved friend,
Let's go outside.
Let's go outside.
And welcome in.
Welcome in.
The Sabbath bride. Beloved friend.
Beloved friend.
Let's go outside.
Let's go outside and welcome in the Sabbath bride. L'cha dodi, l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat. L'cha dodi, l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat.
שמעו וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. l'cha dodi, l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat. L'cha dodi, l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat. Right now we pretend we're at a wedding and we turn around to the back door and we face the bride, the Sabbath bride. Here she comes. You can't see her, but you can feel her. Page 47. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. And we bow to the left and to the right. Boi kala, boi kala, l'cha dodi. You can face forward. Kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat. And now greet somebody near you.
l'krat kala, b'nei Shabbat, l'Kabbalat.
So now, you sang with us. We're all part of the same community. We turn to page 57. And we're going to face east, and we bow gently at the waist with the first word of each phrase.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
Amen. You may be seated. The whole service is built around the communal recitation of a passage from Deuteronomy declaring the oneness of God, the Shema, the oneness of God. But we prepare ourselves for that declaration with two blessings. The first for nature, and that's on page 58 and 59, and then a blessing for love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. B'chochma potech sharim, with wisdom you open up the heavens gates. Uvitbuna mishanei itim, and with discernment you set the seasons in a cycle of order, placing the stars in their appointed paths through heaven's dome. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, umavir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzevaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai amari varavi. We'll do an interpretive version of the next prayer, page 61.
We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we're too proud to soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear.
Love, by unending love, unending love. Let's do that together. We are loved. We are loved by unending love.
We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by unending love.
We are
Love. We are loved by unending love. Embrace, touch, soothe, and counsel. Ours are
the arms,
the
fingers,
and the voices. Ours
are the
hands, the
eyes,
eyes, and
the
the
smiles.
smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are unending love, unending love, love, by unending love, unending.
Page 63. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Reciting together the passage from Deuteronomy, page 65. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha ukumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot einenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha. There are two moments in this journey, this archetypal journey that we reenact in every service. Standing in the mountain, you're on the mountain right now, on Mount Sinai. You just received the Torah and you said, Shema Yisrael, I'll take it. Thanks. I need some guidance to make it to the promised land. And then, interestingly enough, we go backwards in the prayer book from Mount Sinai back to the sea, back to Miriam, leading the Israelites in song and dance as they left slavery behind and stood with their first moments of freedom on the other side of that shore. And we try to relive that moment every night and every morning. Mi Chamocha, the song they sang, is on page 79. This might be a familiar melody.
Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See those people dressed up in white, wading through the water in the dark of night. They must be the children of the Israelites, wading through the water in the dark of night. Chamocha, ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha, nedar ba'kodesh, Nora tehilo Josephele. Oh, see those people dressed up in red. They must be the ones Miriam and Moses led. See those people dressed up in blue. If they keep on singing, they will make it through. If we keep on singing, we will make it through. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. My God is troubling the water. See those people dressed up in black. They've come a long way and they ain't never turning back. We're never turning back. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Feel free. Shabbat is a taste of freedom. Where we don't deny the fragility of life. Page 82. A kavanah is an intention. Enable us, God, to behold meaning in the chaos of life about us and purpose in the chaos of life within us. Deliver us from the sense of futility in our strivings toward the light and the truth. Give us strength to ride safely through the maelstrom of petty cares and anxieties. May we behold things in their proper proportions and see life in its wholeness and its holiness. Ufros aleinu, page 83, towards the end of the paragraph. Ufros aleinu sukkot shalomecha, spread over us your sukkah, your canopy, your fragile dwelling, but dwelling with shade nonetheless of peace, your sukkah of shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukkot shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim, spread over that canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem, a sacred home for all nations on earth. Page 85. So they say that more than the Israelites, the Jews, kept Shabbat, the Shabbat kept us. Vishamru v'nei Israel et HaShabbat, lasot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Israel et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. And on the seventh day, God Sabbathed and took a breather, ויהי נפש. So next we hold a space for silent prayer. So traditionally we rise for that. And there's 7 blessings that we recite. And you take 3 steps back and 3 steps forward, like out of this sacred community space and into your own private place. You can go anywhere you want, right, in your imagination, and find that inner sanctuary. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi. The meditations start on page 88. Open my lips, beloved one, let my mouth declare your. Can be seated at your discretion. ושפתיי מדבר במה, אלוהי נצור לשוני, ושפתיי מדבר במה. Page 106. My God, guard my tongue from all evil, and my lips from spouting lies. May I think before I begin to speak. May my words be gentle and wise. Help me ignore those who wish me ill. Help me be humble before all. Open my heart to your Torah, that I know how to answer your call. There's a Quaker teaching. Before we speak, we should ask ourselves, will my speech improve upon the silence? I think calling to mind those in our community who are ailing, who are unwell, is maybe a worthwhile way to break silence. If you have the name of someone you'd like to add to a prayer for healing, feel free to share it as I get to that space. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the Holy One who blessed our ancestors, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, grant blessing and healing to all those who ail. My Steve, Ruth Nadal, Claire DeRoca, Michael Bedwell, Susan Jane Cure, Mary Fitzgerald, James Block, Annie Hiddle, Bill Weisenborn, Robbie Glantz, Herb Schwartz, Andy Winkler, Stacy Majea, Sally Korf, Don Greenberg, Lori Feldstein, Ron Kleban, Tammy Kleban, Kathy Kaiser, Nate Steinberg, David Dash, Howard Weinberg, Mike Schneider, Nancy Friedman, Marty Diesenhoff, Steve Bernstein, Adam Brass, Susan Levin, Ron Salzman, Yehuda Benjamin, Edward Cohen. Other names to include, just all them out.
Brian Urso.
They say that one of Miriam's gifts was to find wells of healing 40 years of wandering in the wilderness to sustain the Israelites. And then she died. And the Israelites had to learn how to find those wells of healing themselves. In the book of Numbers, it says that they sang, rise up, well, and we'll sing with you. And that's what we're going to sing now.
Waters of healing, waters of life, for love and truth.
Waters of healing, we thirst for love and truth.
Waters of healing,
Waters of life.
waters of life.
Rise up and we'll sing with you.
Rise up.
And we'll sing with you. Waters of healing, waters of life. We thirst for love and truth.
Thirst
For love and truth. Waters of healing, waters of life. Rise up and we'll sing with Yam Shir Yisrael et Hashira Azot Shir Yisrael et Hashira Azot. Waters of healing, waters of life, Waters of we thirst for love and truth. Waters of peace, waters of life, rise up and we'll sing with you. Rise up and we'll sing with you. And those we've named and hold in our hearts, and the many we don't even know to name, be granted a refuah shlema, a healing of body, a healing of soul and spirit, and may everybody be protected from heat stroke across this country. And let us say, Amen. These are the words. This is the first phrase of the book of Deuteronomy, which we begin to read on this Shabbat. We move from the book of Numbers, which in Hebrew is called Bamidbar, and we move into words. Out of the wilderness, maybe of silence and rebellion, we move into a wilderness of words. Eila Hadvarim. These are the words. Asher diber Moshe el kol Yisrael be'ever hayarden bamidbar. The root of the word for word occurs 3 times before you even finish the sentence. Diber means to speak. Devarim are words. And the wilderness is spelled the same way. Midbar is the wilderness, the desert. And midaber, same letters, different vocalization, is speaking. Words have power. Words have power. I think I know a word everybody here knows. It's a long one. Repeat after me, but be careful. It's a powerful one. Abracadabra. Which has the same roots as Devarim and Diber. Abracadabra means in Aramaic, in Hebrew, I will create like I say. A, bara, ke, dabar. I will create what I say. How does God create? God said, let there be light. We create worlds when we speak. It's one of the morning prayers. Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam. Blessed is the one who spoke and a world came into being. And when humans get created on the 6th day, a Midrash tells us, God said, well, what should we call you? And the angel said, I'll call that one the speaker, the human. One of the names for human beings is the speaker. What's the first thing Adam does in the Garden of Eden? Names the animals. And according to Midrash, also names God. God said, well, what are you going to name me? I'll leave you guessing as to what that name was. Yeah, Eile Devarim, these are the words. A couple of weekends ago, I spoke about the power of music, right? The power of rising up, singing, lifting our voices. We can bring forth healing waters from the earth with our song, says the Torah. And it's all there because of words. So that's a daunting thing. to have the power to create worlds with our words. So how do we guide that power? How do we harness that power? This week in the Jewish calendar is part of 3 weeks that lead up to one of 2 24-hour fasts in the Jewish calendar. So the fast day is called Tisha B'Av, literally means the 9th day of the lunar month of Av. And it's a full day fast, just like on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. Why do we fast for a full 24 hours on Tisha B'Av? Because it is the anniversary of not just the first destruction of the first temple in Jerusalem by the Babylonians, but also the second temple during the time just after the lifetime of Jesus in the 70 CE by the Romans, also happened essentially the same day, the 9th of Av. It also happens to be when the Queen Isabella and the Spanish emperor exiled all Jews from Spain, which was like the Holocaust of Jewish history before the most recent Holocaust. And according to the tradition, too, it's also when Moses came down with the tablets and smashed them. Not a good day for the Jewish people. Not a good day. In fact, in Jerusalem, we have a picture over there of Jerusalem, the old city, not the Western Wall, but many people know the Western Wall of Jerusalem as the Wailing Wall. Why is it called the Wailing Wall? Because for most of the 20th century and the 19th century, Jews weren't allowed to go there except on one day a year. They were allowed to come and visit that wall, which was as close as they would allow them to go to the Temple Mount, on Tisha B'Av, on the day of mourning the destruction of their temple. So the only time that people saw the Jews at that space was a day of weeping and mourning and fasting, of wailing. So we're in this time period in the Jewish calendar where we're preparing for this day of mourning, of national calamity, reading the book of Lamentations all day long from the Bible. It's not a happy book. You get that from the title, I assume. The Hebrew title of that book is Echa, which means how? How could that happen? So we've spent the last 2,000 years trying to figure that out. Maybe you can help us. There's a lot of theories out there. Senseless hatred, the rabbis say. Maybe that was it. Or too much division, too many sects within the Jewish people, all 27 different sects, and that's why the temple was destroyed. And another suggestion is Lashon Hara, evil speech, destroyed the temple. The misuse of speech sent the Jews into exile and God into exile for 2,000 years. So how do we know? How do we guide this gift of speech? So there are psalms that are trying to figure that out, that try to understand how we use this gift of speech. And a practice that we engage in the Jewish community called musar, of an ethical or moral discipline. Musar literally means discipline. So what are the questions we can use as filters before we let loose our lips? So we have a group, a midday Musar group that's been meeting for like 15 years, I guess, already. And we came up with 7 questions that you can ask before you speak. So maybe you can help me remember them. I didn't write them down. I'm doing them from memory, which is not good if you want to be careful with your speech, I think. So the first question we can ask ourselves before we loosen those lips is to say, is it true? Is it true? And I like to think of it as a filter. A filter that's not just for the people around me I'm speaking to, but mostly for my soul. The second question is it kind? Something can be true, but not kind. There's a rabbinic tale that there's an angel of truth and an angel of kindness, and they had an argument before God, and the angel of truth didn't win. It might be true, but if it ain't kind, right? Remember that from kindergarten, right? Can't say something nice, right? Don't say it at all, right? Yeah. Apparently it goes back further than, just when you were in kindergarten. Is it true? Is it kind? Here's one. Is it for me to say? Because if it's not my truth, if it's not about me, then maybe it's for someone else to say and not me. We're almost halfway there. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it for me to say? Now it's your turn to help. What else can you ask yourself as a filter? Is it necessary? Does it need to be said? Is now the right time to say it? So we can count that as 4 and 5. 2 more. Anybody else have a suggestion? A question we can ask ourselves to filter this word. Is it edifying? Does it help the situation? Yeah, the way we came up with that is, can it be heard? Yeah. And the 7th one, yes, Robbie. Live as if Liz, so if you tell the family doctor of your parents, the person who talks all the time, and if you tell the family parrot, that's okay. All right. So there's another 7 ways to make me a better listener, I'm sure, but we'll work on the speech today. Yeah. So thank you. That right, live so that the words you share, if they get shared broadly, right? Be careful what you write in an email, or put on social media, because there it goes, right? That's before it's time. Yeah, the last one is thinking about how to say it. So if it survives those other 6 filters, is it true? Is it kind? Is it for me to say? Does it need to be said? Does it need to be said now? Can it be heard? And how do I say it? And how do I say it? Boy, if our politicians would follow those rules, right? I mean, I don't know if they get past the 1, right? Yeah, but maybe we need to teach them and teach one another, and then maybe our speech, the worlds it creates, will be ones we can be proud of, right? Yeah, Shabbat Shalom. So a prayer for wholeness and peace, right? Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Page 107. Say shalom bimromav. Here we go.
Say shalom bimromav. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'alko Yisrael. Ve'alko Yoshvei Tevel. Ve'imru. Shalom bimroma, uyas shalom aleinu, ve'alko Yisrael, ve'alko Yoshvei Tevel, ve'imru, and we say, Amen.
So one more prayer, and then we have a couple of rituals. So we're going to rise for our closing prayer. Aleinu is on, I didn't write down the page number. Thank you, 120. Way to go, Mike. He knows numbers.
That's true.
That's right. So will you repeat the phrase, Ein od, there is no other.
Aleinu l'shabbat Adon HaKol, Latei Gedula le'otzeh Bereshit, Shenatan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam, Natan b'Eloheinu.
Bend and bow to the east. And on that day, God will be one and God's names will be one. Okay, you may be seated. So we've fulfilled well that calling to come together, pray together, learn together. And at the end of each service, our tradition is that we also mourn together, that we greet those who have had recent losses. And Steve Horowitz has just returned this morning from the funeral for his father out east. And we say to him on page 128, you can join me in this traditional greeting. Maybe you can repeat after me, that make it easier. Hamakom Yinachem Etchem Betoch Sha'ar Avalei Zion Yerushalayim. And Pastor Anita, I'll have you rise too, as the first time in our house, as mourning your husband, Thomas. May his memory be for a blessing. And we say in English, may God, the place, console you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Steve, Anita, anyone else in mourning, may you find that blessing. So we will name those who have passed away recently: Thomas Jones, Pastor Thomas Jones, Milton Horowitz, Jonathan Curlin Wise, Sarah's father as well, Leslie Lipstein, Sherry Lado, Angela Fitzgerald, Paul Gould, Joan Seiler, Jim Friedland, Seymour Hanan, Nicole Kasbar, Lisa Lardner. Those have passed away recently. And we also call out the yard sites, the anniversaries of passings from the congregation that we're aware of. Tonight we remember Lorraine Clinert, Richard Warner, Leon Lerner, and Conrad Weinacht. Other names to add, recent losses or someone who died at this time of year? Lois Fishbein. His memory a blessing. Thank you. So if you are in mourning or recalling the anniversary of a death, or it's your custom to stand for all those who have no one to mourn for them, you can rise with us. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 130 and 131. All but the last line are in Aramaic, which 2,000 years ago would have been the language we all spoke to each other, right? The language Jesus spoke. The power of words. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah. V'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayachon u'vyomechon u'vchaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mivorach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimroma hu yaseh shalom leinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of beauty and wholeness and nature grant comfort to those in mourning, and peace to us, to Israel, and to all who dwell on earth. And let us say, amen, amen. Anita, I'd like you to come up and just share a greeting with the community, if you would.
Thank you so much, and God bless each and every one of you. What a blessing to be in the house of God on this evening with each and every one of you. What a blessing to be here with a new community, to learn new things, to humble ourselves in the presence of God and express our love by being committed to kind words, to untying the knots that keep us bound and away from each other, and as a way of gathering together in unity in God. God bless you, Rabbi Jamie. We love you from the bottom of our hearts, and we can't wait to fellowship with you again. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Elizabeth, you want to come up and do some announcements before we close, or did she assign you, Justin? Awesome. Please welcome Justin Hovey, our brand new co-president, and Kat Connolly, our other co-president of the Congregation Board.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see so many faces here. Welcome you all, and thank you for coming up. Short drive up the hill. So for us, we have on July 28th, a blood drive going on here at CBE. And then August 4th, there's going to be a potluck and game night. And that's about all I have for announcements. So, there we go.
You have an announcement? Please. Yes, Pastor Michael Martin.
When he talked about game night, it spurred something on the inside of us. We would invite you to our Vacation Bible School, which is next Thursday and Friday evening. Thursday evening is going to be all about what to do when life deals you a bitter blow. It's a message that Pastor Anita ministered. I think it was a 3-part series, and we're going to take it and do small group sessions. And then on that Friday, we're going to have game night, and we have a plethora of games, including musical chairs, and that's near and dear to my heart because I am the king of musical chairs, all right? But we would love to have you come join us and participate in the conversation because it is small group sessions, and I love how you kicked us off, and Pastor A followed up on it about untying knots. That is so just right on time, amen? Amen.
August 13th. Thank you. I just forgot to mention Marvin Kittman and Mort, condolences to you. And we are continuing trying to do outdoor services in August on, I think it's the 21st. So once a month. So we did a more traditional music tonight, especially for our guests joining us. Well, I want to thank Allison Gustafson for really initiating this relationship and this partnership. She couldn't be here tonight. She's a member of our board, or secretary of our board, and really has paved this and inspired this gathering. And in August, we'll have our annual John Denver Music Shabbat. God willing, we'll be outside in Open Sky Amphitheater. And of course, you are so welcome. All are welcome to join us for that. And let's we'll do one more melody just to sort of lift the spirit again as we prepare to head back. And we'll bless the wine again because can't bless food enough, I think. And have some desserts together and more fellowship in the social. And again, thank you so much for making your way all the way from Aurora. Our guests, our special guest, Pastor Anita, Pastor Michael, and company, Pastor Deanna. Yeah. Elder, that's right. Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
friends.
shalom.